So it really is a moving target as things change. We did an estimate 3 years ago. We took every known bit of data on trash in the oceans, and we used our current modeling to then extrapolate what there might be in the areas where we haven't got data. And we came up with a number, 5.25 trillion particles from 250,000 tons. And that study was redone about a year later, and it's not far off the mark. So we're looking at 250,000 to 500,000 tons of trash floating in the ocean surface. But what's interesting, that amount, it sounds like a lot, 250,000 tons. That's less than 1% of 1 year's production of new plastic. So now we're making more than 350 million tons of plastic every year. And it's going to be more and more in the future. And then that increased production, it's due to a growing population of people on the planet and a rising middle class worldwide. Everyone now is getting a cell phone. Many more people are getting refrigerators and cars. And construction, a lot of plastics are used there. A lot of technology used plastics. So there is that increase, but unfortunately part of that is an increase in packaging, single-use throwaway packaging. And that's, between that and fishing gear, are the two biggest culprits for ocean trash. So if you're looking at the amount of trash in the oceans, what I often tell people is, if we can stop the flow of trash from land to sea, all that 500,000 tons is going to be pushed out pretty quickly. It's going to be pushed ashore. It's going to be fragmented and sunk. I think I should offer the public one quick thing. So I should offer the public a way to visualize trash in the oceans.
Okay. So
5.25 trillion particles of plastics. About 93% is all particles less than the size of a grain of rice. Wow. So I offer people to imagine smog, a smog of plastic. Now, when you think of smog, you think about particulate over our skies, of the small particles, trillions of them, each one being a pollutant. For plastics in the oceans, it's mostly the small stuff. The big stuff is fishing gear, almost exclusively. The small stuff is all microplastics, and we now found it. I was trawling in the Arctic at 72 degrees north, finding microplastics. I was near the equator 2 years ago, finding microplastics. Every lake we survey, from Mongolia to the Great Lakes, we find microplastics. So that's the distribution. It's fragmenting. It goes, here's a way to visualize it. It flows to the middle of the ocean. It fragments by UV degradation or animals tearing it apart. It'll either get pushed onto a shoreline, or it's going to sink, where it's going to go to the ocean floor, or to deeper currents and get pushed globally. So microplastics globally, we're finding them in sediments worldwide, and we're finding lots of the big stuff washing ashore. We just